It's the London Lowdown.
Good evening and welcome to another Friday night edition of London Lowdown. It is me, your host, Reece. Not a Chelsea fan, not an Arsenal fan, not a Spurs fan. I don't even support Palace. Obviously, I'm a Man United fan, but I am joined tonight by a Chelsea fan. This is Evan, and pleasure always, Evan, coming back on the channel, weekly armchair sports talk. Guys in the channel, obviously, hit that like button, hit share, hit subscribe, get the bell on for notifications, and follow us on Twitter. Thanks very much. Evan, how are you this evening, dude?
I'm good, Reece. I'm very good now. Pleasure to be back as always. As you know, I love these get-togethers, as I always do, especially when I'm on my own. There's no one here to defend the opposite team, so it's ideal.
Yeah, I was messaging you earlier on asking if you were around to come on, and you were like, yeah, and I was like, yeah, is there any Spurs fans on? I was like, no, we can't get any this evening, which is fine. But you said that doesn't bother me because I can just give free reign. I was like, yeah,
happy days.
You will have some free reign, but I will drag you back.
Reel me back in.
Yeah, to a degree, but I'll let you go off the chain just a wee bit.
Exactly.
But we have got a good show to cover. Obviously, we're going to talk about Chelsea's start to the season. Obviously, you'll be a bit happy with that. Talk about Thomas Tuchel's signings. I'll ask you about your thoughts on the Champions League, because obviously I've not spoken to you since the Champions League final. Yeah, I haven't spoken to you on a show since then, and I'm just going to ask you about your start against Zenit, and then we're just going to batter through what you think about Spurs, and we already know it's Spurs, so we'll see how it goes. But just on the grounds of the start to the season, honest to God, like Chelsea, they've started really well. Lukaku's been hitting form. Do you think Tuchel's settled in really well now as a Chelsea manager? Now it's his first full season starting off.
I mean, we were all worried to come off the old Lampard reign there. New manager coming in, obviously everyone's going to be nervous, but you saw how last season went. Do you know what I mean? Top four, Premier League, Champions League winners, happy days. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of the fans, and more importantly the players, have really taken to Tuchel, more like what Klopp has done with Liverpool when he first joined. Took him in under the wing. Everyone is happy out, delighted to have him. Do you know what I mean? There's no complaints that I'm aware of anyway. I'm not complaining. Do you know what I mean? As you can see the smile on my face ear to ear. The start of the season, brilliant performance. Like, do you know what I mean? I've nothing to complain about. Like,
yeah, you're just what's the nice way to say? You're just such a smug bitch. You're just a smug bitch at the moment, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. At the moment, I think for most Chelsea fans, at the moment, being smug is probably a good thing to say. Just coming to the chat. Hello, Daniel. Hope you're good. He says, "Hey, Evan, good to see you on, mate." And we hope you've had a good day.
Daniel.
Well, I've been working since 10 o'clock this morning. I only finished half an hour ago, so I'm actually tired, but good enough to actually give us a good show, because that's all it's about. So it doesn't really matter. The most important thing is football, or as you guys call it, football. For the banter, it's football. But on the grounds of Tuchel, he's came in really well. He's went away slightly from his known systems, like the four at the back, high pressing style, but still dominant with the ball. And he's changed it around at Chelsea. He's went for the back three, which I think may have caught a few people by surprise. And he's more hard to beat now. And I think the fact he's actually assimilated that into the Premier League for himself. What's your thoughts on that in terms of changing his style to assimilate to Chelsea? Do you think he's done it right?
Yeah, I think it goes to show that he is one of the top managers, and he proves it. He's analysed the team, analysed his system, and was like, right, I don't think my usual system is going to work well with this. What can I do? What works well for Chelsea? Now, obviously, the three at the back works with the players he has. I mean, and the results he's actually getting so far. It's obvious it's working for him. As you said, it's a lot tougher to beat Chelsea nowadays. Even with the 10 men, the Liverpool game, the 1-1 draw, and the pressure Liverpool put on then once we went down to 10 men, it goes to show that Tuchel is the man for the job. And with the style that he's playing and with the players he has, it's A1, like, and it's going to be hard to beat this year. And Chelsea are a threat to be reckoned with, like.
To be honest, I wholeheartedly agree. I think in terms of opposition in the league, Man City are like the usual suspects, like Liverpool. They're going to have an interesting season. So for the last year, by their standards, were extremely shocking.
Yeah, a lot of injuries from Liverpool, but just going over City there, at the start of the season, as you know, as you said, everyone else was like City will be the main threats, but for some reason, I think once Aguero went and they got Grealish in it and the whole messy mix up and do you know what I mean, the Grealish stuff. I don't feel them as much as a force as they once were back in past years. I feel like United would be after pushing that system now, but yeah, from what I'm watching, it's kind of to decline. Like I don't see a big massive threat. I think it's more leveled out since City have lost Aguero and kind of took a step back from that. Sure, look, they're going to win it this year again. Like, but United with Ronaldo, Varane, Sancho, Johnny, I think they've kind of stepped up to the mark more now. And with Chelsea with Big Rom, you know what I mean, up top, it's more of a level playing field. But I do have to back my own claw. I do feel like Chelsea for the win this season. Like,
if you had to look at Chelsea in terms of their strongest challenger, because obviously you've got to back your club. Obviously, I want Man United to win the league, but I think we're going to finish second in all respect. I think Man City right now are still the favourites to win the league. Hopefully that doesn't happen. We win it, and then they can go back to where they belong, beneath us. But in terms of yourself, who would you say is your biggest rival for the title? Would you say it's more like Man United or Man City, or would you actually go on a whim and say Liverpool?
I wouldn't say Liverpool. Yes, they've got all their injuries sorted and all that, and they have all their main players back, and they're doing well. Like, do you know what I mean? But going off the basis of that performance there, that 1-1 performance, obviously Chelsea down 10 men, harsh red card. I'll express a lot about that later on. Harsh red card.
I'm going to ask you about that. Didn't you want
to? I don't feel Liverpool are a main threat. They are a threat. Like every other club is a threat, but they're not a threat I'm too concerned about. City at the very start of the season, like I said, I done my best there, and I had City to come out on top. But from what I'm watching and what I'm seeing and how, do you know what I mean, based on the other clubs as well, like I said, United are after coming up through that gap. Yes, they had that big hole in the middle to sort out, but they're pushing up through, and City doesn't a striker.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think that's going to be the deficiency for them. It's what they do up top. They'll get goals, but they do need that central threat. Before I come on to one question I want to ask you on, I'm just going to dive into the comments here. So evening Danielle, IRH, hey Dan, although this comment's funny. Which one? Squad depth will leave Liverpool down. Yep, that's true. Trevor, Reece, blasphemy, United to finish second, wash out your mouth. No, I will not, because I said last year we'd finish second. I have us to finish second this year. But to be fair, I don't think we are ruled out of the win the title. It's where we go throughout the season. I think top two, we're definitely within that. But if we win the league, then fantastic.
See, putting in on that now, you know where my stance is with United, and I've said it before the season started. And you know, I don't think United are finishing top two. I don't think third. I think third is your place. Yeah,
well, we know where your place is. Stuck behind claiming biggest club in London behind Arsenal.
We'll
let you fight that one out later. Matt says United sucks. No, they don't. Trevor's here. That's correct. Keen, good evening to you, mate. And when you have Ronaldo and Bruno, anything's possible. True. And they have Ronaldo and Bruno, but they are United. Of course, we're United. That's what we're all about. We're the real United. No one else comes close. Before I come on, one question I want to ask you is about the Thomas Tuchel system. As Daniel's actually brought up, it is fluid, especially when defending. Isn't his rule that you won't have a teammate more than 6 yards away from you to defend so tight? They are hard to break down, and it's no surprise just how good Chelsea are defensively, but as well in terms of attacking, they do dominate the ball really well. Based on the signings you brought in, you got Son Niguez, you've brought in Romelu Lukaku. Do you think there's anywhere in particular you felt could be earmarked as a weakness, like, or do you think right now you're actually in the strongest position you've been in since I don't know, maybe Conte when you last won the title? Like, do you think there's anything maybe you'd earmark?
For me, over the transfers, when we were getting wind of Holland and all that, I think, oh Jesus, that comment, we'll get to that later. Hakimi was the one
later on. That's it. Hakimi later on in the show.
That really, oh Jesus, if we got him, bust up the system there, like happy days. like another defender wouldn't have gone astray. Like, it would have been ideal considering we played the three at the back. It's nice to have, as you said, strength and depth. But that we didn't get it, I'm not too worried. As you see what we have there already, it's working. And I think that the main thing is the boys on the sides. You've Reece James, yeah, and you've Chilwell. I mean, do you know what I mean? It is quality, like, or Alonso if you want to put Alonso there, whichever. But it's I think that's the kind of main structure. You see if you look back at all the Chelsea goals and assists, you see they're coming in from the sides. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You get the odd one or two coming in for Havertz and Mount up through the middle. But if you look back at assists and goals, they're coming in from the sides. Do you know what I mean? That's where the threat is, big time.
Yeah, you do use the wings really well, and you do make use of your fullbacks who are particularly good at going forward. Some of them maybe a little bit suspect in terms of do they actually belong in professional football. Chilwell, Alonso, Emerson, to name 3. Oh wait, that's your entire left-hand side. But I look on the grounds of it is the players you do have, particularly in the midfield area. You've got Kovacic, Jorginho, you've got Kante. Now you've added Son again, so that's 4 good central midfield players that you could fit around. Out of those 4, who would you say is the one who is the most important, or do you think it doesn't really matter now because you've got such good options in there? Because obviously people are going to say Jorginho and anybody or Mark Kante, but it's interesting how they've adapted so well in the system.
If you look back on the last podcast I was on here, it was the Champions League final, the kind of pre-show towards that. I said, and I was watching it there today actually earlier on, and I said about a certain player, about Jorginho. It's not, at the time, it wasn't, I had something against him. It was like there was something not right. But looking back at the Champions League and then looking at through the Euros, I done the Euros, I mean, I've not, but absolutely proved me wrong. Like, took my hat off to him. Happy days, I've no worries. That he was kind of, I wouldn't say a worry for me, but it was a little niggle, as you could say. Kovacic as well, it was a little niggle for me, them 2 players. But looking back, I'm glad they proved me wrong. And Kante, obviously, always class. And I don't see this could be, like I said, a biased opinion and the smugness coming through, but I don't see a so-called weak point in the team. The left-hand side, you could argue.
It's just a matter of how teams actually beat you. Is just a manner of, because any team can be beat. So I agree with you in that sense. I like some of the players you've got in there. Is like, I would bite my hand off to get Jorginho out of your midfield. People would say Kante. For me personally, it's Jorginho because I just like the way he holds the ball and he passes it around, and he orchestrates midfields really well. And well, we all know what he did in the summer, which was the best thing ever. We're not going to mention that because we don't want to start any fights.
Viva la spaghetti!
We're not going to start this fight. We're not going to do it.
There was war in the group chats.
Oh yeah, we're not going to forget. We just got a couple of comments here from Trevor in particular. I think Evan is related to Roman Abramovich as he's very knowledgeable. He must be Russian. No way he's Irish. You never know. We'll just ask. Are you secretly Russian?
Well, you never know. You never know.
You never know until he checks his family history.
Exactly.
Evan should be ashamed of himself supporting Chelsea as an Irishman. Daniel with some mentions of clubs in London, Barnet, Brentford, brilliant. And I second this one. Havertz, quality player. Quality. I like Havertz. Absolutely, to be fair, I prefer Havertz to Mason Mount, and we're going to leave it at that, right?
touchy subject.
Aye, Havertz over Mount. It's common knowledge, mate. It's common knowledge.
Give it a while.
But I'm going to move on a little bit because obviously, since the Champions League final, Tuchel's. One thing I thought was actually quite smart from him is he reiterated, we're going back to square one. It's start all over again. We've won the Champions League, but we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. We're just going to go like day one. Yeah. And that showed by winning the Super Cup. You beat Villarreal. On the grounds of that and how well you've started the season, do you think Tuchel's actually shown that he isn't going to be like the Chelsea managers previously where they get that contract offered to them and then they get sacked quite quickly. Do you think he's going to be the one that actually ends this so-called curse that's going around with Chelsea managers?
He's definitely the one to break the chain that managers get taken in and sacked after half season. I think it was blasphemy to do that to any manager in any club in the first place, because I think to come straight in to a new club, new players, new system, to take the reins over from a manager that so-called messed up before, it is a difficult task to do, and I would challenge anyone to do it. Like, in the time that some managers get, it's a shame to see that happen in modern day football. You don't get the likes of Wenger, Fergie anymore, do you know what I mean, that go on for 10 plus years.
Sean Dyche, he's celebrating 9 years as Burnley manager next month.
And it's a rarity thing to see, like, do you know what I mean, managers go on for that long. You rarely see managers go on for 3 or 4 years now. It's a blessing. Do you know what I mean? You'd be praying for that. As you said, they won the Champions League. Right, go off and have your fun. Do you know what I mean? Don't go too hectic. Come back. You have next season to prepare for. We want to do the same again. Get top 4, if not win the thing. And once you come back, it's switched on straight away. No bullshit. Excuse the language. But you see it straight away. Like, there's no messing about. The score lines prove it. It's there. We're scoring 3 goals a game. Apart from the Liverpool game, I think 1-1. I think it's the
final score.
The Zenit game then was a 1-0. But do you know what I mean? Champions League, I'm not too worried about now around this time of the year.
Yeah, because we all remember what happened last time Chelsea won the Champions League. They got knocked out to the group stage, but then they went and won the Europa League. So they've got habits of turning things up when they want to. Before we come into Daniel's question, which is thoughts on the Chelsea keeper, I actually have one question about it, because I've never actually asked you this previously. But you've mentioned about managers that needing more time, or managers sacked too prematurely. Frank Lampard, obviously, he got sacked in January. Do you think that was the wrong decision by Chelsea, even though you weren't at the top 4 at the time? Do you think that was the right decision, or do you think he should have been given till the end of the season?
I always feel like, I love Lampard. I love him as a player. As a manager, I thought Jay's is reminiscent on the good old days. Coming back will do wonders. Yeah, Rocky start, obviously, kind of. Do you know what I mean? He gave us what we needed, and someone to fill in for the time being. Was he a long-term solution? It would have been nice to see it, but I will stand by what I say. No manager should be only given 6 months. I think at least a season. At least everyone should get at least a season, no matter how awful or dreadful. Because, like I said, you can't be expected. Do you know what I mean? That's like me telling you, you have 1 day to build a rocket, fly to the moon. Do you know what I mean? Yes,
ain't gonna happen.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? You're not just gonna get someone to come in, boom, Champions League winner straight away. Do you know what I mean? Now there are managers to do it, but it is a tough ask for anyone.
Yeah, I just thought I would ask that because obviously his first season, obviously he got the top 4, which with a transfer embargo, I've got to give him credit. I mean, that's something that deserves some respect. But obviously, then he did only get the 6 months after a big transfer window that he's never actually had in his lifetime as a young, inexperienced manager. So I thought I would just ask you on the grounds of that. But I'm going to push on because obviously there is a question from Daniel for you. Overall, what is your thoughts on the Chelsea goalkeepers? I mean, is Mendy average? Is Kepa shite?
Anyone that says Mendy is average is must be a deluded Liverpool fan.
I don't know, mate. I wound you up by saying he was average not long ago, mind.
No, come on.
He's actually a good goalkeeper. I just don't think he's the best yet, but I think he's got a potential chance of being one of the best in Europe.
Yeah, he's not the best. I'll say that. I'll admit that. He's not the best. There's plenty of keepers out there that would come in over him. But the age he is, how he's come in, stepped up from Kepa, like, do you know what I mean? To call him average, I think is an insult. From what he's shown and what he's proven, do you know what I mean? It's blasphemy to call him average.
There has been a fair few on social media I've seen that have called him average, and I was like, he's not really. I mean, I say it to wind people up because it's just a little bit of banter, eh? But like, I recognise he's actually a good goalkeeper. What he had to do in that first 6 months was impressive as well. Like, in terms of, like, obviously Kepa was expected to be the main goalkeeper anyway because the big transfer fee behind him. You'd expect him, all right, he's got a goalkeeper now. He's got to turn things around. But
Yeah.
inevitably, he couldn't, and rightfully so, he's been dropped. But look at what Mendy did in those 6 months in the Champions League for Chelsea.
The difference
Fantastic.
I see between Kepa and Mendy is Kepa's downfall was his price tag. I think it let him go to his head, and then he had the tantrum. Made a show of the whole fucking club. Complete, absolute show of the whole club.
Was that the Carabao Cup final?
It was, yeah. Made a show of the whole club. Absolutely disgraceful. He shouldn't have been left to rot on the reserves. The fact that he's still there is only because we paid the money for him. I feel like that is the only reason he's there. Do you know, 70 million, 70 odd
70
million.
million, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's the only reason he's sitting on that bench is because of that price tag.
Now he's not even worth half that. He's probably worth less. Like, that's just how, that's generally just how bad he is. Like,
exactly.
As a goalkeeper, like,
he
doesn't even get in the starting 11. He doesn't even get in the starting lineup for his country anymore. It's that Unai Simon, and he's not that good either.
Look what he done. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, he was there to fill a gap. Like, he was meant to be this absolute top man placement, but he hasn't shown it, and he won't get the chance to show it again, and rightly so. Simple as.
Yeah, I agree. So I want to get your thoughts on the 4 games so far. Obviously, Lukaku's came back. He finally got his first goal funnily enough, it was against Arsenal. His first goal for Chelsea. It was his first goal in 16 appearances for the club. He hadn't scored in his first 16 appearances. Scored in his second debut. He then got his 2 goals at Stamford Bridge. Coupled with the fact the squad itself is showing it's gelled really well in the first 4 games. The draw against Liverpool, I'm going to come onto that shortly because I think that's the earmark right now for.
It's the only negative
games. Yeah. But overall, like, first 4 games of the season, like, in terms of the league, we'll come to Zenit in a minute, but in terms of just the first 4 games of the season, what's your overall thoughts and opinions? Because obviously you can't win the league after the first 4 games, but you can certainly lose it. But
100%.
At the moment, it doesn't look like Chelsea are in that sort of position. Like, they've started very strong. So, first 4 games, what's your overall thoughts on Chelsea so far?
I mean, like, look, I'll be honest. The first game out, I was surprised at the starting lineup, so I was big time surprised. Players I wasn't expecting to see there ended up absolutely shutting my mouth closed. Do you know what I mean? Pulisic, who else did I say actually? Pulisic, Chalaba, Christensen, and Kovacic. Didn't expect to see them starting. Kovacic got an assist, Pulisic scored, and Chalaba scored. I couldn't believe it. Absolutely shut my mouth closed. Happy to see the 3 goals. And it just goes to show Tuchel's managing skills that once again, like, not that I had no faith in them players, but I thought Tuchel would go out full strength and show the Premier League, the other teams, why they won the Champions League, why we're here. And that's what he did with not the full strength team. Like, so I was happy out with the first game. 3 goals, 2-0 against Arsenal then. Big Rom. I mean, Italy done him well. When he was with United, he packed on the pounds. Italy didn't want any of that. Shaped him up. We took him back, and he's a machine. He's a machine that United players always wanted. And I feel like before the whole sign of Ronaldo, it was a big kick in the teeth to him. I feel like United fans were definitely jealous to see him in that good a shape, and he will be a serious, serious threat. I mean, like I said, the debut, first goal, boom. Goal against Zenit, boom. Scored against Aston Villa. 2 against Aston Villa.
2 against Villa, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
First one unfortunate on in terms of Axel Tuanzebe. Like, he has ripped him apart, but the second one, like, Villa's just left him for dead. Like, Villa's just been left for dead in that sense, yeah. So,
I mean, then the whole Liverpool game, it was being honest, what happened with the red card down to 10 men, I was happy with a point coming out of there. Considering that once we went down to 10 men, the pressure Liverpool put on in the last 15, 20, 10 minutes, they were just absolutely brutal. battering, just going head for leather, wouldn't stop with the pressure, just up in our faces. And the boys defended well. Do you know what I mean? For that 1 point, I was happy considering that red card. If we didn't get that red card, Reece James would have been up that line, whipping one into the big man. Do you know what I mean? Look at another goal.
On the grounds of that, do you think for yourselves, maybe if it hadn't been for the red card, it is 2 points dropped for Chelsea, or do you think 1-1's actually the right result in the end? Like in terms of a draw for you guys at 1 point, do you think that was right overall? Or do you think it's 2 points dropped?
If we kept the 11 men, I would have been slightly disappointed with the 1-1 draw. I wouldn't have been too disappointed. I would have been slightly disappointed considering if we had the 11 men, what that team can produce full strength. I would have been hoping for another goal. But like I said, I wouldn't have been too disappointed. But the fact that we had the 10 men, I would have gladly took the 1-1 draw. And with the pressure Liverpool on, like I said, I was happy out.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Overall, I watched bits of the game. I didn't see the whole game, but then I watched the highlights on the match of the day, and I thought Chelsea in that game were just, to be honest, just so hard to break down. Liverpool just didn't know what they were doing against them, and it says it rightfully so, just like how well drilled Tuchel's got this side. But then you look at how performances have been under Tuchel. They've always been consistent. It's always well drilled, but they will hold the ball really well. The ball, it doesn't matter if it's in central areas or if it's out wide, it's being controlled with pace. It's getting in the box as well, and it just shows because you've got Romelu Lukaku. If it gets into the box, get into his head or get towards his feet, he is going to score. And he's been earmarked by that first goal against Arsenal. Like the way it was fed into him, it just sums it up really well. And based on the grounds of the season so far, which players overall has impressed you the most? Apart from obviously Lukaku, is there anyone else that's particularly stood out?
Coming off from last season as well, Reece James. I mean, it's blatant obvious the man is an absolute war tank. Like, he's coming off that line, he's whipping balls in. He's got a goal against Arsenal and an assist. He's got an assist against Liverpool. Like, from right wing back, I mean, he's doing well. Name me another right wing back that does that.
Is he better than Trent?
That's it. I've seen this argument so many times, the Trent and James argument, and I feel like the results that are shown, I mean, credit where credit due, Trent does what he does. He's there to play right back. Do you know what I mean? He's there to do his job defensively, but attackingly, there's no question. It's an insult that James is compared to Trent attackingly. Defensively, I would... argument's sake, I'll give it to Trent because James pushes forward so much and he gets them assists and do you know what I mean? But for Liverpool and everyone else's sake that says I'll give it to Trent on that basis.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Wan-Bissaka's clear of both. Just to wind you up. I'm on such a good move. See that you're seeing how smug I am now. You just want to get at me. The words of a notable poet is reap what you sow, and that's how it is. I'm just gonna have a quick look into the comments because there's some great comments in here by the live chat tonight. So let's see. I mean, I will be surprised if Chelsea doesn't win the league this season. Hope they don't. It was a decent game. I agree. Comments are actually just not showing.
They're not showing up.
There we go. Internet does that now and again. It's really shit. It's shit. Honestly, honestly, the best way to sum internet right is as good as Liverpool's title defence last season. That's probably the best way to sum up.
Shots at Liverpool.
Yeah, easy. Trevor, I would just like to let Evan know, would you please stop mentioning Reece and James in the same sentence? I am not saying that hashtag. How dare you? How dare you? Trent can't effing defend. Look at Milan's goals the other night, both were down the side. That's true. That's true.
That's actually a good point, actually. Never
Honestly,
crossed my mind.
Like, honestly, you give that guy 20. Well, you're supposed to have 20/20 vision, and you can't defend.
Yeah.
And I mean,
But
I wear glasses,
in,
but I can defend better than Trent.
in fairness, I'm not going to base his whole defensive system just off that one game. Everyone lets goals in. Do you know what I mean? It happens to the best of players. But that is a
Keen, I
fair
swear
point,
to
though.
God. Keen, I'm not even putting that comment up on screen. Like, stop it. It doesn't happen. But obviously, your Champions League campaign did kick off during the week. You did get that 1-0 win against Zenit. Very, very strong performance, both sides, to be honest. I thought Zenit gave you guys a good game. I watched. I thought Zenit, they had opportunities where they should have scored, but they just didn't get the ball in the net, whereas Chelsea, on the other hand, took the opportunity and converted it and got the goal 1-0, 3 points, off to a good start. How impressed were you by Chelsea's performance against Zenit St. Petersburg in the Champions League to kickstart your title defence? How
I didn't get
impressed
to
were you?
I didn't get to watch the game in full. I only saw the few highlights, but like I said, at this time of the year, I'm never too worried about Champions League this time of the year. You know, for a club that we are, I feel like to not unless it's an absolute death group that we get. Like I think Liverpool are in an absolute awful state, but I'm never too worried around this time of year. Juventus coming up next. I feel this is obviously going to be our biggest challenge. I'd be happy with a draw, and if we get a win, happy days, top the group. But it doesn't really affect me around this time of the year until we get past the group stages. Like I'm not worried about Zenit or even Juve at this round of time. Do you know what I mean? So or Malmo or it's not too stressful. Like it could be worse. Like United been worrying about young boys. Like it's tough. Like I feel for United fans, but to be worried around this time of the year already, like. So.
Yeah, that wasn't a good game. We're not getting into that one today. I'm not discussing young boys at all. That ain't happening. We're not getting into that one. But yeah, made a fair point. On the grounds of see in terms of the Champions League, do you think Chelsea have got a good chance of retaining the trophy, or do you think you may fall a little bit short?
I mean, Champions League is Champions League. It's going to get tough every year. Like to win back-to-back Champions League, it's a lovely thing to do, but like for it to happen, it is a rare thing. Like you don't see it too often. But I feel like we'll be up there. Like if we don't get to the final, I will be upset considering the team we have, the manager we have. He knows how to play him. Do you know what I mean? And to contest for the Premier League as well, it would be a hard pill to swallow if we don't win anything this year.
Yeah. Well, let's hope you win nothing, and then we can all celebrate at the end of the season. Just want to say before we move on, have a good night, Trevor. Thanks for coming in the comments as always.
Thanks a million, Trevor.
And for the record, I do not own certain pajamas everyone claims I own. I don't own them, and that's the end of it.
You love him really, Reece.
I freaking don't. In fact, I'll go on further. I fucking don't. Like, I just don't. Honestly, he's at a club that suits him. An irrelevant club, which is beautiful. I looked at the overall performance of Chelsea, and I think one player at the moment who's got a lot to show is Son Niguez. And obviously, it's coming into a new club. It's a totally different style of play. He's not particularly lit up yet. I don't think he had a good game against Villa as well. I thought he was a little bit off the pace. It's his first game in English football, but
yeah.
In this system, do you think he was the right midfield signing for Tuchel?
I mean, he's not a bad lad. Like, do you know what I mean? He does take a while to get going off the mark, but like you said, first game Premier League, it's going to be a big change for anyone. It is a tough transition to do, like best league in the world, and they're going to hit you. And they're going to hit you hard. And to be under a new manager, new players around you, you're going to take a while to settle in, like anyone does. You know yourself. Yeah. But I say give it time. Like I said with Havertz, Werner, all them when they first came in, give it time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look what's after happening already. The boys are after settling in well. He'll do the same. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, because he is a good player. I just look at the sort of players that he's already got at his disposal and what he's trying to do. Was it the right signing? But just by looking at it, he will come good. He's just not had the best start yet. But obviously, it's a new league, new style. He's going to have to adapt anyway. And he's got a good manager to take him forward.
Exactly. And Tuchel will give him the games and the game time to prove himself. It's not like any other teams that he's just there to fill a bench. That's not the case at all. He's there to do a job, and he will get his game time, and he will get the chance to prove himself.
I agree. I just wanted to ask you one question. See your forward lines. Obviously, there's Lukaku's obviously the main one. You do have Kai Havertz, Hakim Ziyech. Now and again, he shows his class, but at times he's a little bit off the pace. Mason Mount, to a degree, shows he had a few issues against Zenit. Decision making was questionable, but he's still an overall good player for Chelsea. But the one that's always earmarked as, he's not good enough, but he actually is good enough off the ball and he does his work, is Timo Werner. Do you see him with any future at Chelsea in terms of actually improving? Do you think he may actually be cut loss at some point, maybe at the end of the season?
When I first got wind of Lukaku coming in, I was like, right, this is going to be an unbelievable masterclass. Werner consisted to 25 goals last season. I was like, right, he was getting his footing in. Grand, he missed very few questionable chances. Could have had a lot more, but didn't. It's in the past, we'll move on for it. He's only going to get better. Yeah. Big Ron comes in, right. Them balls over the top are going to be absolutely lethal. Werner running off his shoulder. My mind was all over the place. Like, it wasn't a question of how we're going to win, it's how many goals we're going to win. But do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It was very nice to hear. Like, and it, like, for a man of Werner's pace and talent to be running off Lukaku's shoulder for them balls, it was unbelievable. With the system Tuchel had to go on with, just Lukaku up top and leaving Werner on the bench, I was all right. We'll see how it goes. See what happens. Obviously, it's worked out. It's misfortunate for Werner. He probably won't see as much game time as he was hoping, or as anywhere close to it was last year. But it's what's best for the club, and it's a horrible thing to say what's best for the club because it leaves him sitting on the bench. But everyone has their place, and I feel like he's going to turn into the Jesus of Chelsea. As what Jesus is to City, Werner will be to Chelsea, and it'll be a horrible thing to see because he is a very talented player. Like, and I knew that if we didn't get anyone in up top this season, he would have. And I've said it in the group chat. Next season, lads, he'll be on form. He'll get his touch in. He'll be more comfortable. He knows what's coming his way. He knows what the defenders are like in the Premier League now. He'll hack forward. He won't be missing them dodgy chances anymore. Yeah. So it is what it is now. So, but when he does get his chance, I hope he proves Tuchel that, like, all right, I still have it. Like, I'm still a contender here.
Yeah, because he's a player that I like. I've always liked few players. Like, maybe just because of the fact that he's German. And I absolutely love German football, and I get slated for it. But honestly, I couldn't care less. He's a player that I like and respect, and that's why I don't particularly slate him, just like anybody else. I want him to do well for himself in terms of like a national career. Shame he plays for Chelsea, but I was looking at it, like, off the ball work and his pace. He's brilliant without the ball. But it's just that he shot his confidence, and I think it was because of working with Lampard. Keane, that comment totally incorrect. I'm not even gonna. No, we're not having that.
Don't even put it off.
I'm not giving him the time of day tonight. No day. No chance. He's not getting this. Question from Matt: you sure Werner would get better? His finishing is worse than he was at Leipzig.
I like, basing off last year. I'm not going to base his time in the Bundesliga compared to his season at Premier League. They're completely different. Like, so they are completely different leagues altogether. Different players coming up against. If you look back and take all the times he's gotten through defenses, it's madness. Like, balls over the top, his pace, it's insane. Yes, he's missed a good few chances, but What if he scored all them chances? What if every chance, all them blatant obvious misses, if he took all them and if he got them and turned them into goals, like,
Yeah.
What's the goal count then? What's the goal contribute then? Like, it's well over 30 anyway.
That's 38, 39 maybe, something like that. I think rough number.
You're pushing
top of my head.
40.
I think so. Yeah, because
And for-
in terms of what he's missing, I think it was like 10 clear-cut chances he missed. Like there were setting chances that he missed.
Exactly.
And turn that into goals, and you wouldn't have the conversation. And I just thought I would ask you that. But we are going to move on. We are going to move away completely from talking about positive Chelsea. Now we're going to get to the bit you've been wanting to do all evening.
Oh, big time.
Tottenham Hotspur, Sunday. There is some, for me watching at least, obviously I've watched a few games like in the past for Chelsea and like Chelsea Spurs. Obviously there's a couple of cup finals stand to mind. The 2-2 draw that ended Spurs' chance of winning a Premier League title for the first time since 61.
Yeah.
And there is so many moments that stood out. But in terms of you, before we even just preview, like, before I just ask you your thoughts on the game, what for you like stands out as a memory in terms of like Chelsea and Spurs? Like, what game stands out for you and why?
It has to be, and if you ask any Chelsea or Spurs fan a game between Chelsea and Spurs, what game stands out? It has to be the 2008 goals. What was it? Like, it was madness. The man, Robbie Keane from your own country, putting two past the club I support. It's lovely to see an Irishman banging goals away abroad, like, but to do against your own club. I mean, some of them goals were iconic, like, and there were so many. It was a game for any soccer fan, not just a Chelsea or a Spurs fan to watch. It was mesmerizing for any soccer fan to watch. So I think that's the biggest game that comes to mind to me, regardless of finals, all that crack. But I think that game really stands out for me. I was actually watching reels there the other day on Chelsea TV, and that came up, and it just showed Robbie Keane going over to the corner after banging in the second goal. I was like, oh Jesus, here we go. But yeah, no, it's a quality match, and it's some. If you haven't watched, I highly recommend it to any soccer fan to watch.
The one that obviously stands out for me, obviously, is the 2-2 draw, which ended Spurs' chance of winning the league. It was just a complete battle, and it was completely unlike Spurs. Like Pochettino was unlike him at all. It was brilliant to watch, because this is the team that apparently is going to go and pip Leicester and Arsenal and all that to the league. They're going to go and do it, and then up steps Chelsea.
2016 was it?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, 2016. Yeah.
Chelsea have got a habit of ruining title leads, title pretenders and all that. I mean, you can call Liverpool a title pretender in 2014 because obviously they lost to Chelsea, but you done it to Spurs, so obviously that'll be more enjoyable for you because that's a rival. But
in fairness,
just about that game in general, like, it was great.
Was that Chelsea stopping?
That was Chelsea stopping. It was Chelsea stopping Spurs.
Being an absolute bottle shop as per usual. I mean,
it depends on how you define it.
I suppose. So there you go. But
I think this is the best way to sum it up.
Oh jeez. We'll say that. So we'll say that. But
this is ties that bind. Because that's the thing about that team, is like that Spurs team could have won the league. It was filled with quality as well, and you look at the back line, it worked, but they got outplayed by Chelsea. Like Chelsea Chelsea to that day, the way you played,
manhandled.
You got in their face, and I thought the funniest part was the way Diego Costa conducted himself on the pitch. The guy got stuck in, and he's done it to Man United a few times, and it pissed me off. But what he done to Spurs, what he done to Spurs was absolutely brilliant.
But talking back to Diego Costa, one of the most iconic Chelsea strikers going to date. You talk about aggression and no bullshit. He's up there with the likes of Roy Keane and them. He's a no nonsense. He'll get in your face. He's not afraid to throw an old dirty tackle here and there, and that's what he done in that game. He was in their faces, no letting back. It was a very, very memorable match, as I say, the rows and arguments. But it is a quality match. But
absolutely. I just want to
I
ask,
still
what is
feel
your...
like
Sorry, on you go. Sorry, carry on.
I still feel like it could have been. It just happened to be Chelsea that it came across at that stage. I still feel like it's a Spurs situation. It was Spurs' game to lose, and like I said, bottle job. I don't think it was the fact that Chelsea got up into their faces or anything. I feel like it could have been anyone, and Spurs would have done the absolute flop.
It's always Spursy, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go.
What's your overall thoughts on Spurs so far this season under Nuno? From a rival fan perspective, what's your overall thoughts on them right now in terms of what he's done so far?
To me, considerably, they're not a threat. They're not a big six. They're not a threat. They're a mid-tier table. I've no concern for Spurs. Like, absolute no concern. Son, I feel sorry for him. Harry Kane, I feel sorry for. The rest, mid-tier. They're not in special. They're not a top four by any means necessary, and they won't be for a good while unless they sort out what's going on in the club.
If you had to put them in a position for the end of the season, like, if you just like, obviously you're not going to put them in relegation, although for you that would make you laugh. But just in terms of just Arsenal. Like, where do you? Yeah, that'd be beautiful. Chuck Liverpool or Leeds in there. I don't care who. But just in terms of like right now, because obviously there's a transition for them going from Mourinho now into Nuno. It's like, where do you think they will end up at the end of the season?
I'd say they'd be doing well at 7th, 6th. They'll be doing, yeah, they'll be doing very well. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, they're a mid-tier table. They're not in special. They're not, like I said, they're not a City. They're not a Liverpool. They're not a Man U. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They're not up there with us. To put them in a big six, or do you know what I mean? Is disgraceful. Arsenal, you can argue with the history. Spurs, what can you argue with? Money?
Like stadium.
Oh, they have a stadium. Do you know what I mean? It is scandalous. Yeah, they haven't got relegated. That's what you can say to them in how long? Do you know what I mean? That's what you can say about Spurs. They've stayed up. Do you know what I mean? They've survived. They've been mid-tier. They've been up there. 2016 was am I wrong in saying the closest thing they've smelled to a title?
Closest in... Yeah, probably the closest since when they actually won the league in 61, yeah. Yeah,
so it's like I said, it's no skin off my back. I'm not worried about it. It'd be like going out playing Wolves. Do you know what I mean? it's just a mid-team, lower team to me. Do you know what I mean? It's like I said, it's not a City, it's not Liverpool. Do you know, it's not a big game. In all fairness, it's a derby, all right. It's a London club versus a London club, but it's another 3 points for Chelsea, the way I see it.
Yeah, definitely. And just going into, obviously, because it is the game this weekend, it is earmarked as one of the games of the weekend. How do you see it turning out in terms of the way Tuchel's going to plan it out in terms of like team selection to deal with Nuno? Nuno's going to try and deal with Tuchel, but we all know that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But just on the grounds of it, how do you see Tuchel actually lining up the Chelsea 11 on Sunday? How do you think he's going to handle
I feel like it's going to go kind of similar to... Sorry, excuse me. I had another big dinner there. But I think it's going to be similar to the Liverpool lineup. More or less the same. I can't see much between 3 at the back, you know what I mean? 2 at the side there coming up along. Big Rom up top and Mount and Havertz into the middle along with Kante and Jorginho. And I see a 3-1, 2-1.
It's not too bad.
So like I said, 3 points.
Definitely. Does Trevor Chalobah, does he
Chalobah.
Does he stay in the starting lineup for you?
See, with Reece back from his red card, I feel like he's going to. I feel like he should start. He's a quality player. It was a harsh red card there against Liverpool. I feel like a yellow would have been suitable. I thought a red was way too harsh. A yellow and a penalty would have done the job. Do you know what I mean? If you wanted to argue, a red was way too harsh. But I feel like Mendy in goal, Rudiger, Silva, and Aspi in the back. Then you have James and Chilwell on the sides, Jorginho and Kante in the middle, and Havertz, Mounts, and Lukaku up top. And if you want to if you wanted to throw in Werner after 2 goals, work away. If you wanted to take out Jorginho, even rest up Kante, you know what I mean, give the midfielders and they'll switch around. Fair enough. But like I said, it's no skin off my back this game. I'm not.
You don't see like
about it.
Sort of no sort of threat at all from Spurs in your eyes. Obviously, you want to write them down as much as possible. But like, is it just Son and Kane for you, or do you think
Son and Kane? I don't think there's too much to worry about. Do you know what I mean? What's special about? You could argue Reece, but he's had to decline over the years. He's not as what he once was. Like I said, you could argue him, but I'm not too worried about. Like, you big Rom up top, he's going to bang in the goals. Do you know what I mean? It's an average, mediocre midfield and backline. Like I said, you've Harry Kane up top and Son. I feel sorry for the two boys. Why they're still there? It's a dying club. It's you know what I mean? I'm probably slating them a bit too much, but it's the harsh truth. Tottenham are nothing to me. They're nothing to Chelsea.
Yeah, no, I get that. I thought I would just asking on the grounds, because obviously it is a big game, and obviously you want to be as confident as possible. You still got to like at least have the thoughts in your head. Just going to come along to comment here from Matt. Werner is like a minor version of Son with awful finishing. I still remember Werner saying Lukaku joining Chelsea would be helpful for him. Now he gets no game time. How do you respond to that?
Well, that's where I was coming from as well. Previous. Saying that when I got wind of Lukaku, Werner running off Lukaku's shoulder. But like I said, Tuchel has gone with the one man up top and it's working out. But I feel like Werner saying that, like, he's not just looking out for himself. Yeah, he gets no game time, but look how well the club is doing. Look how well the team is doing. We're banging in goals. And to me, it shows he's not it's all about me. I'm not getting game time. He's the club is doing well. We're doing well. I'm on the winning side. Do you know what I mean? He is a team player. He's not a selfish baller, like. So to call him a minor Son, two different players in two different positions. Son is a baller, but look where he is and look where Werner is. How many Champions League medals does Son have? How many Premier League medals does Son have?
Well, Son and Man City has a lot in common. They both have none. So
I suppose.
they both have none, so that makes sense. But if he moved to a different club, he probably would win one.
And that's why I feel sorry for Son and Harry Kane. Harry Kane should have left should have left Spurs in the transfer window. He should have went to City. City should have bagged him up. City would have been an absolute monstrous threat. They would have stayed up there like every other year, and everyone would be saying, "Oh, City win the league again," because they have Harry Kane now as well, replacing Aguero. But they didn't, so Spurs are still not in. City have declined in that threat, so it's up for grabs. Like I said, if Chelsea don't make a serious push for it this year, I'll be disappointed, considering how we're playing, how we're performing, coming off the Champions League win last year. I wouldn't say it's ours to lose, but we're definitely contenders, big time.
Yeah, contenders for finishing third.
No, I wouldn't take United's spot on you.
Nah, the only spot you'll take is if we finish top, you finish second. Like, you can finish behind us. Man City can just disappear for the rest of the time, which would be good.
I've been saying this since the last season ended. You're not doing better than second place. You'll do third, and you can come back to this podcast, screen clip this exact moment, and you can post in the group chat. And once again, this smug face will be back again.
So that's 55 minutes and 9 seconds into the podcast from right now.
Yeah.
Your exact words. United won't do any better than finishing third in the league. That's as high as they'll go.
Mark it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Do you ever see Top Gear where Jeremy Clarkson's like, try not to look smug?
I think that's what Chelsea fans say every time they played Arsenal last season. They couldn't beat them.
Look.
So that makes a lot of sense as well. Like they're smug, but then there's not turning. But looking forward to your upcoming games though. I'm just going to overlook Spurs just a little bit because obviously that's coming up. In terms of your upcoming run, obviously you've got the cup game coming up, then you've got the rest of the league. What game stands out for you as like upcoming in terms of your current run? Like say between now and say October, like as like the ones that you just can't. Obviously, everyone's a must-win game for Chelsea because they want to win the league.
Yeah.
But if there's like one game that stands out for you, which one would you probably say?
I think Juve coming up soon will be a key point. It's a big step up from what we're playing with so far. Like Liverpool was kind of a key point as well, but it showed its colours, showed where we're at. Juve will do the same thing. I think it's two games ahead, something like that.
A couple of weeks' time, yeah.
So that'll be a key point of where we actually truly stand. Juve are not a team to be pushed around. They're a threat in Europe. It will be a challenging game. Team always do well, but look, we'll see how it goes. Worry about it when it comes up. I'm not too, like I said, it's not about the Champions League. It's about how we perform and where we're at, because we're not going to see too much of how we're playing unless we play a decent club, as we'll say. Yeah. So, like I said, we'll give Liverpool the benefit of the doubt. Decent club. Yeah, we had 10 men down, but half time. But sure, look, once we have full swing of things and we get the full preview of a match, we'll know where we're at, and we'll see from that result then and how we go on through after Christmas. United will be one that will really kind of make me nervous. Cristiano, it kind of reminisces of 2008. Breaks my heart. Champions League.
You never know. I mean, he might get a cross in from the. He might get a cross. He might just put a header past Mendy. So there's an earmark for that. Like Champions League final in 08, West Brown cheeky little cross in, and Ronaldo and he scored past Czech. There's nothing can say that Wan-Bissaka.
Well,
we'll see how that goes. Is that it's going to be Luke Shaw. Whoever plays anyway, one of them's going to try and whip it in. There's nothing like a little bit of nostalgia, especially if we win. Oh wait,
that's where I'm coming from. Yeah, that's where I'm coming from. I'll always have that in the back of my head now that you have a decent side and you know where you're at. And Ollie, I think, needs to do a bit more to really push United over the line. But the players are there. I know you have Fred in the middle and you need to sort that out. But I feel like United will be a big threat. City. I'm worried about City, but I'm not as worried as I am about United. United, I feel like, will be a battle. It'll be a tough one to swallow. I can see us messing up here and there, but like I said, everything else in between and beyond, I'm easy going on cool breeze. Like, it's considering, like I said, the side we have, the manager we have, and how we're playing, how we performed last year, how we performed this year. It's, like I said, it's no skin off my back.
You hear that, viewers? Chelsea fan is terrified of Manchester United.
I wouldn't go that far with it now.
We go. We're living rent free. We're kicking. As we are coming to wrap up the show, and obviously it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. Evan tonight. Before I ask you to tell where you can find you like on social media, there is something I want to quickly announce. If you're aware, if you're a subscriber of Weekly Armchair Sports Talk, we did a giveaway for a '94 Manchester United shirt. Absolutely stunning. I am the one bestowed upon announcing who won the giveaway. So I will now announce the winner of the shirt giveaway is Katie Marie Anderson, who is a fellow subscriber of the channel, has like, one I've known really well in terms of Twitter, always around on the channel. She's sadly not here tonight, but for yourself, Katie, congratulations, you have won the shirt, and hopefully you enjoy it, add it to the rest of your collection. So
Well done, Katie. Happy days.
Happy days indeed. Evan, where can we find you on your socials? Where can we find you?
All my social, it's the same as that's there. You can see Evan Fahy 98, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Mainly TikTok is the main one. If you want to catch me over there, I do jersey hauls and sometimes I do giveaways myself. So if you want to check me out, I do a bit over there. I have a Q&A box if you want to reach me. Ask me any questions and all that, soccer related, soccer related.
Why are Chelsea shite? Simple, because
Evan, how do we stop Chelsea? Hey, look, you can't. Simple as.
Well, it's always a pleasure speaking to you. It has been a little while, but hopefully we'll have you back on again soon so we can have a little bit more banter as well, especially when it comes to
reminiscing.
Yeah, exactly, and that's how it should be. You've gone 3-1. I'm going 2-2 draw just to wind you up. I actually think it will be a draw.
You're killing me.
I'm going for a draw just because obviously it's good for me. But this has been your Friday night edition of London Lowdown. This is the Weekly Armchair Sports Talk. That's Evan. I'm Reece. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, and thank you guys for tuning in. Have a great weekend. And if you're a Chelsea fan, I hope your team loses. Good night.